I am here with Shea Hillenbrand, who is a former MLB player and now is a real estate agent as well as a mindset focus leader. So how are we doing today, Shea?
I'm doing amazing, man. I love the New England accent. I love the wall behind you. It brings great memories for me as a former Red Sox player. I bleed red just like so many people in that city, in that nation.
I love it. Yeah, exactly. And it's really interesting, talking to people about Boston sports fans because we have very high expectations, especially myself. I always say, and I don't take it for granted whatsoever, I couldn't have grown up in a better region, in a better time period to be a sports fan, because I've really been privileged enough to have 22 years of sports success throughout the Patriots, the Red Sox, Celtics, the Bruins. And I bet, as yourself, somebody who played in Boston and also was drafted by Boston, really sort of felt that pressure that Boston sports puts upon you.
Yeah, it's just I personally never felt pressure. I felt support. I felt a connection. And I was one of those players that thrived in that situation, that environment. Every time we had a player come to the team when I was there or get traded or whatever, I'd sit them down and say, dude, these are the expectations. This is what you have to do here. If you do this, you'll survive. If you don't, if you try to showboat it, if you try to do the stuff you did in Tampa, in Miami, in Montreal, these fans will boo you right out of town.
Oh, yeah.
And dang, if one player, the first at bat he had, I'm not going to say who it was, he popped up, he jogged, and he was booed for the rest of the season he was there. And I'm like, bro, I warned you. All you have to do is play hard.
Exactly. And especially when you played for the Red Sox, it was from 2001 to 2003. And that was really before the curse of the Bambino was broken. And, the 86 years was sort of over that Red Sox team to win the World Series and sort of overturn the curse. And so you said that there wasn't really too much pressure, there was more support. But what was that sort of feeling like every single time you walked out on Fenway to show the fans that you are trying to help reverse the curse?
It's a buzz. It's an energy. It's something that you experience in that. I want to say the first word that comes to my mind is eclectic, but it's a historic stadium. Mm-hmm. Fenway Park, New England, right? And it's different like anything else. It's either it's an acquired taste for an athlete. It's either you have it or you don't, because you're on the other end of a relationship, a marriage, a courtship. I mean, I'd receive fan mail from girls, young teenagers that say they've been watching every single game with their dad ever since they're 3 years old. You got to understand, man, I grew up in LA, a diehard Dodger fan. Yeah. The consistency of a diehard Dodger fan is show up in the third and leave in the seventh to beat traffic. And then you listen to Vince Scully on the radio. So right. I knew nothing outside of baseball other than Dodger Stadium and the Dodgers, because all I ever wanted to do when I was a kid was play Major League Baseball. I was so focused on that. I had that vision in my head and my dream in my heart of becoming a Major League Baseball player, like so many other youth players out there in the country. 3 million youth players every year try to become a Major League Baseball player, try to play professionally out of high school, right? But I was that kid that ever since 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, I was always outside throwing the ball against the wall or hitting the ball off a tee, pursuing that dream. So I was just relentlessly pursuing that dream and just did it.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I sort of went throughout the whole same experience growing up, and, we talked about this before the interview, how much inspiration Dustin Pedroia helped me with, overcoming those doubts of me being small, or even just the doubts. I remember when I told people that my dream was to be a Major League Baseball player, they're like, well, millions of kids want to do the same exact thing as well. But I was just so focused on being able to get there. And so how were you able to get through that determination or those doubts from people growing up?
Working. Communication to myself. Working. You can't neglect. You can't debate work. Mm-hmm. If you have something set in your heart, if you have something set in your mind, have a specific mindset and you work towards that and master the skill sets, because skill sets have utility regardless of what you do, any industry that you're in or whatever you're trying to achieve. Yourself right now running this podcast, skill sets within this podcast are essential to allow yourself to grow and achieve whatever you're set to achieve, right? But what do you have to do? You have to show up every single day.
Right.
You have to show up every single day and put the work in. So I don't care what anybody says. So that's the thing that happened with myself and how I was able to achieve not one dream, but both of my childhood dreams. If you can see behind me, I have animals on my shelf, right? They're strategically placed there because when I was in 5th grade, I was that kid in class when the 5th grade teacher says, what do you guys want to do when you grow up? I'd raise my hand. Hey, Shea, what do you want to do? I'm playing Major League Baseball and I'm owning a zoo. And everybody's like, what are you talking about, man? That's so crazy. You can't do that. Nobody can do that. Everybody tried to put their self-limiting beliefs on myself. And I was like, I don't care what you say. I'm going to do it. So what did I do? I played Major League Baseball. Didn't only play Major League Baseball. I became a 2-time MLB All-Star, making tens of millions of dollars. I was the first guy to hit a home run, a game-winning home run off Mariano at Fenway Park as a Red Sox player. I'm rounding first base, brother, and the ground is shaking. I thought Fenway was going to collapse because of energy. The Fenway faithful were going nuts and it's April, man. It's not even in September or a playoff game. But what I did is I felt like David beat Goliath. Like I did something that the unimaginable. But what did I do? I couldn't control the outcome. I come up in the 8th inning and I walk from the on-deck circle, leave my comfort of the on-deck circle, and I walk to home plate. I hear my name bellowing from the speakers in center field, now batting, number 29, Shea Hillenbrand. I have Manny Ramirez on second base. We have 2 outs. We're down by 2. We're down by 1 run in the 8th inning. What do I tell you before we start this podcast? I can't control the outcome of that situation. What I can control is how I prepare myself and how I present myself in that situation. What did I do before leaving the on-deck circle to go to home plate, to be there in front of everybody? ESPN Game of the Week, the arch enemy, New York Yankees, the all-time greatest closer, Mariano Rivera, is on the mound. First ballot Hall of Famer, all this stuff. He has won so many games in that situation. Here I am, 1 year removed for being a rookie. I stepped to the plate with what? I stepped to the plate with pure confidence permeating through my veins. Why? Because I prepared for that situation. Countless hours, thousands of hours in the cage with bloody hands, with countless hours in the gym, pushing myself past my limitations, not my body, but my mind. Numerous hours on video, studying video, to the brink of passing out. I'm prepared for that situation, right? And then I know how to present myself in that situation because I've done it time and time again. When I step in the batter's box against Mariano, I'm focusing on 3 things and 3 things only. When am I going to start my swing? Focus on reading the pitch and react. That's all I focus on. And that's all I controlled in that situation. See, 2 pitches into that bat, there was a pitch on the inside corner that could have gone either way. It was so close. It was a ball. Us players know if it's a ball or a strike in that situation. We know it. We have good eyes. What? The umpire has pressure on himself too. We don't know how the umpire is going to call it. We don't know the pressure that he's in. We don't know if we saw it. So that pitch could have gone either way. The umpire calls it a ball. I step out of the batter's box. I start to reformulate my game plan. I hear as Jorge Posada is throwing the ball back to the umpire, Jorge Posada has his head turned to the left, facing towards me. If you guys ever see a Major League Baseball game and the catcher has his head turned toward the side and he's looking towards the field, he's doing one thing and one thing only. He's cussing out the umpire. He proceeds to say, "Come on, Mariano needs this effing pitch," but he used the full word. And I'm standing out there. I'm like, man, Mariano doesn't need this pitch, man. like I need this pitch, dude. I have no chance right now. So I step in the batter's box, man, and I get my account set. I get my count set. I know my approach. I know what's going on. Mariano is going to throw me a pitch inside. If he elevates it towards my numbers, towards my letters, whatever it is, up here, chest high, where he's trying to do it, there's a good chance I'm going to swing through it for strike 3. That's his game plan. But if he misses just an inch, 2 inches below that, see you later.
Right.
Mariano brings his hand up. When do I start? Read the pitch, and I reacted. Is the ball connected with the bat out front of the plate? This is 2002, the year before the seats are on the Monster. The net was up there. Bro, I take 1 step out of the batter's box. I see the ball already into the net. That's how hard I hit the ball. I wasn't trying to hit a home run. I was just trying to do my focus formula. I was trying to do what my focus was on in that situation. Mm-hmm. I take one step out of the batter's box and I celebrate with a fist pump. Yeah, not the pump, not the pimp, not to show up, not to show nothing. I was like, holy crap, dude, I just did it. Like David beat Goliath. Like, oh my gosh, dude, like we're winning. Like we're going to win this game. Like everybody thought we were going to, like the crowd's going nuts, man. Jerry Remy and Don Orsello, rest in peace. Jerry, I love Jerry Remy to death. They were speechless. They couldn't even talk because the crowd was going so crazy that it was so loud, all because of what I did. Mm-hmm. That's it. So check it out, man. After that game, all my teammates went out that night, all of them, to celebrate.
I love it.
I always say, arguably, I like to say, my teammates celebrated with the best fans in sports, by far the best fans in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
I am a Red Sox through and through. I was killed. I was hurt when I got traded from there. My career was over. But my teammates went out and celebrated, free dinners, everything, partied. What did I do? I went straight home to my house. No celebration, no hanging out, no relishing in the moment, because I had a mindset so stuck on my identity being a Major League Baseball player. I knew I had to focus for tomorrow's game. I woke up the next day, that pain that I've created so much inside myself from the perspectives I've formed in my childhood of stories with my father resonated so deeply inside myself, it never went away. And that perspective from those pain points and that pain in my life ultimately led me to a point of losing everything in my life. But playing at Fenway, man, like I get emotional because I can't tell you how many times I'd hit a ground ball. I'd get out. I'd be running back from the dugout and fans. It's all right, Shea. We'll get him, man. Do it next time. We got this, man. Mm-hmm. I make an error. I know they're going to boo me. If I don't come through in a situation, I know I'm going to get booed. That's just because of the situation, not because of who I am. I never gave them a chance to boo me or whatever because, dude, I played my tail off every day for the Red Sox nation, and that will always be near and dear to my heart. I'm 46 years old now, man. I left the game when I was 32. I play with the Red Sox 28, 29, and it's just like, it's family, man. Mm-hmm. I love it.
That's amazing, man. And I love how you just explained that entire Mariano Rivera up and back, because I appreciate that, because I was going to ask you about that, because, I mean, even before 2004, I mean, now it's different because like the Red Sox have just had so much success throughout my life. Now there's like some bragging rights. But I mean, when you played, the Yankees had just won 4 championships in a row. And like you said, it was that sort of feeling of they're the greater team. And as Red Sox fans and Yankees fans, I mean, during that stadium, when they're two playing each other, I mean, it's an energy like I've never been a part of. And every single time
series, it's like It's like the playoffs, man. It's like when I hit that home run wasn't for Shea Hillenbrand. I relished in that because it stroked my ego, and that's what I needed. It was my ego to be stroked because I was so far gone. I was so far disconnected from who I am as a person. I had to latch my identity and my ego to a performer. That home run was for a nation. That home run was for all the old people to give them hope and chance before they died that they might have a chance to see the Red Sox win. That home run was for all that dynasty, all that grit, all that sweat and tears and pain that they felt, that us felt, that I got the goosebumps right now, that we felt as Red Sox Nation towards the evil empire. Screw the Yankees, man. Yep. Forget them, dude. Couldn't stand them, man. It's like,
Well, it's funny because I actually went to a Yankees game like 2 years ago, and it was at Yankee Stadium, and they were playing the Orioles. They beat the hell out of the Orioles, and I was in the train and I had my Red Sox hat on, and I also wore a respect Derek Jeter shirt because I respect Derek Jeter for everything he's done for the game. But I made sure to wear my Red Sox hat, even though the Red Sox weren't playing. But we were in the train and they were chanting, "Let's go Yankees." And I remember I just got like this really tense and angry look on my face. And like after we got off the train, my dad's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I freaking hate the Yankees." I'm like, "I can't stand them." I just got like so frustrated. And he's like, "I don't understand." I'm like, just like that ingrained to hate the New York Yankees that you grow up as a Boston fan, like you'll just never understand, like hearing them chanting "Let's go Yankees," like how it feels and how you just want to like argue that how much the Red Sox are better. But I love it, man.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if you really want to look at it from our perspective as a player, we're just glorified clowns. We're just entertainers.
Yeah.
We're just out there trying to entertain people, to give them a chance to create memories and opportunities with their family and in their your guys' lives, stuff like that. I mean, we're high-priced entertainers.
Yeah, true.
And it's hard to understand that, and for us to treat it as a profession, for us players to treat it as a job, because this is like our dream. This is something we've been doing since 5, 6, 7 years old, hitting the ball and T-ball all the way up. All the stuff that you went through, we went through, right? So it's just like, it's really difficult not to attach your identity as a player to that. And so many players do that. And then when they leave the game or they collapse like I did. Like, I was a Hall of Fame capable caliber player. I knew I could hit 300, 30 home runs and 100 RBIs every single year. And I've been told by multiple players, people that like, you're going to make $100 million. I didn't do it. I lived up to a fifth of my potential. So after I left the game of baseball, I really like peeled back the layers. I studied and I learned, it's like, why didn't that Shea Hillenbrand achieve what he was capable, his potential of achieving? And if I can understand that, and if I can figure that out, then I can relate that and use myself as an example to help other people break out of those limited beliefs, break out of that area that they're at right now, to allow them to go out there and pursue their dream, pursue their purpose, pursue those visions, and use their gifts and talents to impact the world and be able to create and do whatever you ever want. I lived both my childhood dreams by doing exactly that. So what I realized through the process of Shea Hillenbrand pulling back the layers of the onions, the Shea Hillenbrand that called Theo Epstein a faggot on the radio, super embarrassed, super horrible stuff. The Shea Hillenbrand that got in a fight with the manager in Toronto, John Gibbons, the demise of my career. The Shea Hillenbrand that did all these things were all from perspectives that Shea Hillenbrand formed in his adolescence. Just like you, the perspectives you formed when people say you're too small. You're not good enough. You'll never be able to make it. You're a pipsqueak. Well, it really doesn't matter what other people say. It matters how you interpret that situation. It matters how you communicate that situation to yourself. So that how I interpret it and how I communicated that to myself, my experiences when I was young with my father was, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, and my dad doesn't love me. Because how can he do the things he did to me at that time in my life to where we went through what we went through? That was just me trying to form a perspective at 14 years old. And the perspective I formed was 100% incorrect. But we need to realize this. Regardless if my perspective is correct or not, that's my truth. How I interpret and communicate those experiences to myself forms my perspective, forms the story that I'm going to tell myself, and that forms my belief system. And it causes me and guides me with the decisions and the actions I take on a daily basis. So the reason why Shea Hillenbrand exploded and did the things he did in the clubhouse, the reason why Shea Hillenbrand, if you Google him right now, he says he's the cancer of the clubhouse, he's a bad teammate, is because I hated myself, because the perspectives I formed in my adolescence. And I could never justify, I could never own it. I'd always try to justify, well, Theo did this, or John Gibbons did this, or this is why I did this. Like so many people, we make excuses and blame other people and use our current situation not to go out there and achieve what we're trying to achieve. So I went through this whole process of discovering, okay, cool. Now I can own my story. Now I can own my truth. Now I can understand what led me to do what I could do. And I could actually rewrite history. You could actually change the perspective in these situations. Well, what I did to Theo was 100% incorrect. I'm on the Boston Globe the next day, and it's horrible. What I did with John Gibbons in the clubhouse, horrible, all over ESPN. What did Shea do? Well, I succumbed, I fell victim to the pressure and the pain that I experienced in that environment. I came victim to that. And then I just said whatever I had to say. I couldn't keep it in. That's why I did what I did. And what's crazy is that this Shea Hillenbrand right here is the real Shea Hillenbrand. That Shea Hillenbrand then tried so hard to be this Shea Hillenbrand, but I couldn't because what? I was trained, go out there and hit. Go out there and hit. Go perform. Go get him tonight. Go face Mariano. Oh, you got Messina. Oh, tonight you got to face Clemens. Go out there. If you do that, everything will be great. Cash those paychecks. I experienced so much pain when I played Major League Baseball. It was disgusting. And the crazy part is I had it all. Private jets, mansions, 6 automobiles. See, when you're rich, you call cars automobiles, right? And then 300 pairs of shoes. I loved shoes, man. I was a shoe whore. I had anything and everything I ever wanted in my life. The prime of my career, man.
Yeah.
But I felt pain. I felt pain, man.
I mean,
all I could do.
That's why I love telling stories like yours, because like it's something where like as athletes, like people think, oh, you make so much money, you have everything that you could have ever wanted to dream of. And you like, how could you ever be upset? How could you ever have anxiety? How could you ever have depression? And especially as men, it's something where you're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to be masculine. You're supposed to be strong. You can't have feelings. You can't be vulnerable. And that's something that I try to just preach on this show all the time and show people that everybody's human and everybody goes through those child traumas that you went through. I've gone through child traumas as well. And that's something that I'm going through right now is trying to peel back those layers, find that Jake 2.0. And it's something where going through those experiences, what sort of advice, looking back now, would you give your younger self?
Nothing, because I wouldn't listen. That's a joke I always tell everybody, and it's the truth. I couldn't trust anybody. There's only one thing I was scared of playing Major League Baseball. One thing only. Sign, seal, deliver, one thing. Not 101 mile an hour fastball from Justin Verlander. I could crush that in my sleep. Not playing in front of 40,000 people. Not playing at Fenway or New York or on TV in All-Star games. Not playing, have a player behind me trying to take my job. Dude, you ain't taking my job because I know how to take care of business. There's only one thing I was scared of, and that thing I was scared of was myself. I couldn't trust myself. I couldn't trust myself because I didn't have any credibility with myself. See, there's two people involved with the situation. There's Shea Hillenbrand, the person, and there's Shea Hillenbrand, the performer. See, some of us say, pull up your bootstraps, get rid of your emotions, do all that stuff. It doesn't matter. Just go through it. Just go out there and provide. Go protect your family. Go have success. Go gain status. Go out there and do things out there and do things and do it right. And just who cares? Yeah, if you do that, you'll put yourself in a position of being one breath away from losing your life like I did 7 years ago. I was on the floor of a van and I overdosed on drugs and alcohol. And here lies a guy that so many envy, motionless, after accomplishing everything in the world exactly how we all train our kids to do it. You got to be macho. Well, are you macho? Because I'm laying on the floor of this van in front of my ex-wife's house with my children, my 3 adopted beautiful children who I quit baseball for, an arm's distance away inside the house. I'm outside by myself trying to run, numb, and flee from that pain that I felt. I wasn't trying to kill myself because I don't do that. I couldn't navigate that space. And as the soul's leaving the top of my head and I'm clinging onto my last breath, the thoughts going through my mind are the same thoughts that you had when you were a kid, the same thoughts that everybody has when they're listening to this podcast right now or watching it. The thoughts going through my mind are, you're a loser. You lost everything. What would your parents think if you left this world today? What kind of dad would do this to his kids? Come on. My answer? I don't know. I'm nothing if I don't have baseball. My name had become the game, my identity. I sold my soul to play out there every single night. 3,500 plate appearances, 7 years, hurt, everything, pulling up the bootstrap, doing exactly what everybody tells us to do. And I was done. Tired of fighting the pain-driven game, so I let go. I don't know if I died or if I fell asleep, man. But shortly after that night in that van, the Lord brought strategic people in my life. And one of those strategic people being my wife today. And it took other people to help me with direction and guiding me and holding me accountable to what I needed to do to develop Shea Hillenbrand, the person. I developed Shea Hillenbrand, the player. I could do that. I've swung a baseball bat 1,000,000 times. I can go out there and hit a major league fastball right now at 46 in my sleep. Who gives a crap about that, man? What's the person? Right. Who's the person behind the performer? That's what it was. And what I discovered through this process of 9 years of what I went through, man, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I was in a van, living in a van, man, after everything. Talk about humiliating. Talk about feeling like the biggest piece of crap in the world. Talking about your kids going to school, telling their parents or telling all their friends that I played for the D-backs because that's where I live in Arizona. And I can't even feed my kids pizza, Little Caesars pizza. I couldn't even take care of myself. But what I discovered through this process, I didn't have any foundation. I didn't have any structure in place to develop and maintain the person, the who behind the what, the performer.
Right.
All I focused on, all everybody talks about, go to school, get your degree, get a job, provide for your family, make $250,000, get a good pension, make sure you take care of your insurance, 401k, go out there, go catch some Sox games, go to the bar on Lansdowne Street, go hang on the train. It's not about that. It's about the who. Who are you? And through this process, I realized that I developed a deeper version of myself, a person with substance, purity, something I knew or thought that never existed. But through that process, I created the MLB Mindset. MLB Mindset stands for momentum, language, and belief. And if your listeners or viewers are watching this is the only part that I want you to listen to. This is the game changer. This is what will take your game to the next level. This is what will break you through the limited beliefs you have. You have. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. It matters what you say. This will connect you to that dream that you've gone dormant in your life, the dream that you've always wanted to do, but you think that you can't, you're not good enough. The M stands for not Major League Baseball. Sorry, dude. I can care less about Major League Baseball. That's your lane. My lane is saving souls. My lane and my vision is helping people break through to become who they've been called to be, to play the game with purpose, to play the game with that's worth playing, to play the game that they've been called to play all along. That means, what's your vision? What's your dream? What's your purpose for being here? I believe fully everybody has a purpose. This is my purpose, not hitting home runs off Mariano. This is my purpose right here. The M stands for momentum. We have to create momentum in our lives. Life is about momentum. These three things, MLB, momentum, language, belief, are three irrefutable laws. You could argue religion, you can argue politics, you can argue Sox games. You can't argue this. This is how we're made up. This is how we function. This is how you go to do everything and anything you ever want to do. Life's about momentum. The progression is the key to happiness. If you're biblical, a man without a vision will perish. We have to have momentum in our lives every single day. The hardest part of the momentum cycle is getting started. If you're going to do something, if you have a vision, you have a dream, something you're trying to do, podcast, content creation, whatever you're trying to achieve, the hardest part is getting started. Why? Because it's overwhelming and it's daunting. For me to go to the big leagues, it was overwhelming and it was daunting. But when you get started, there's two things you focus on and two things only. That's not the skill sets. That's not the outcome. That's not the money. Nothing. What it is you're going for two things. You have to get belief and conviction in what you're doing. When I started in the MLB, I didn't know what I was doing. I was nervous, but I worked and I worked and I worked. And I took ground balls with Johnny Pesky on days off. I hit in the batting cage with Big Poppy and Manny and our hitting coaches every single day. What am I doing? I'm not going out there to get the outcome of hitting 300 to be able to stay on the team. I'm not going out there to be able to go out there and make $20 million like I did. I'm getting belief and conviction. When you get belief and conviction what you're doing, the game's on, brother. You have to create momentum. You have to show up every single day and do it. Give what you have in the tank each and every day. You can't give 100% every day, but give 100% of what you have in the tank that day. That's what represents Sox Nation. That's what Sox fans are about. That's all they expect from their players. Give 100% every single day. There's days you're going to strike out 4 times, but give me 100%. That's it. But check this out. There's 2 things that keep you from not starting, right? Excuses and current situation. Yep. See, so many people say, forget your excuses, man. Forget what's going on, bro. Just go out there, pull up your bootstraps, go out there and do it. It's not going to work, bro, because you're going against yourself. Check it. We have 6 human needs: 4 of the body, 2 of the spirit. You have certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, and you have significance. Those are 4 of the body, and both those counteract each other. There's 2 of the spirit. You have to grow and you have to give. That's why people talk about going to church, religious. You got to grow. You got to fill yourself up, and you got to go give it. You got to go serve people. You got to go add value to people. That's when stuff gets momentum going and you get going crazy, right? But check it. See, the reason why people don't get started is because their excuses and their current situation are serving them a purpose at a subconscious level. What is it doing? My excuses are serving a purpose of the human needs. It's giving me significance. It's giving me love and connections. It's giving me uncertainty. So you're fighting yourself. So if you understand that your excuses and your current situation are causing you to stop and not get started because it's serving a human need, you could bust through that. Get started anyways. Once you understand that, you can get started. The L of MLB, language. How do you leverage the language? Check this out, brother. The most important conversation you will ever have in your life is a conversation you have with yourself, your internal dialogue. Not with anybody else, with yourself. What are you saying to yourself? When we get people to understand how to leverage my focus formula, they bust through stuff every single day in their personal life, their professional life, and their private life. 3 main pillars that we're trying to have success in. Last part is belief. Check this, man. This is so powerful, dude. A lot of people don't understand this. The most powerful force in human nature is for us to stay congruent to what we believe to be true about ourselves. I'll say that again because it's so powerful. The most powerful force in human nature is for us to stay congruent to what we believe to be true about ourselves. We try to stay in line with what we believe to be true about ourselves. What do you believe about yourself? What do you think about yourself? Those are the questions we need to answer. That's the baseline that we need to start on. We got to create momentum and we got to start believing in ourselves. How do you believe in yourself? Get repetitions, get momentum, get perseverance. Go out there and take action. You're going to gain self-confidence. Start getting credibility with yourself by keeping the promises with yourself. So if you're going to get up every day and say, you know what, I'm going to make my bed, make your bed, boom, credibility. If you say you're going to watch what you're going to put in your mouth, boom, watch what you put in your mouth, gain credibility. If you're going to say you're going to drink so many cups of water a day, whatever, boom, do what you say that you do to yourself. That doesn't matter what you say to anybody else. It matters what you say to yourself. You have to gain credibility with yourself. Shea Hillenbrand didn't have that. I can jack bombs all day long, but I couldn't have credibility with myself off the field. I hated who I was, and that was the demise of who Shea Hillenbrand was to get me to the point to create this. So what are we doing? I'm helping people break through with what they're trying to achieve. I'm focusing on entrepreneurs, business execs, top performers, real estate agents. I'm in real estate to help real estate agents like your dad. I want to help them achieve their dreams and their goals to become financially free, become personally free, and just break through that crappy cycle of burning the candle at both ends. If you do those 3 things, momentum, language, and belief, watch out, dude. Your game will go to the next level, and it will definitely be a game worth playing.
I love it, man. Wow. Yeah, I mean, you just got me so amped up, and it's not only just like connecting it with baseball or sports. It's also just with life, like you said. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I've had to overcome is that belief, and not allowing, those beliefs that I learned from growing up, not only in school but through my parents, and figuring out my own beliefs and figuring out who I am. Like, what do I believe? And I think that's a biggest thing for people like my age is finding out who they are. And like you brought up, with really figuring out that after your career, figuring out who you are today, the Shea Hillenbrand 2.0, that 2.0. Is exactly. And so like for people who are looking deep within themselves and trying to find who I am, what is my why, what is my purpose, how were you able to do it, and what advice do you give people?
Absolutely. That's a great question, brother. So what we do is we got to figure out, like, when you go to bed at night and you wake up, what's that voice saying to you in your head? What's that conversation? When you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? What do you say to yourself? What happens in those situations? Right? So what we have to do is we have to start understanding, what do we like to do? See, a lot of people I don't know my purpose. I don't know my passion. I don't know my dream. Well, a lot of people don't know that. They weren't lucky enough as I was. And like, hey, I'm going to be a baseball player, Major League Baseball, own a zoo. Like I'm going to do that. A lot of people aren't like that. So what are your interests, right? So a passion starts out as an interest. What are you interested in? Like go do those. What is it, something that you want to do? I tell my wife this all the time because she's uber successful in the corporate world with banking with Wells Fargo. I said, if you want to get rich, do something you're good at. If you want to create wealth, do something that you're passionate about. What are you passionate about? That's what you got to start understanding. A lot of us don't know at your age. I didn't know at your age, right? So it's like, what are you passionate about? What do you like to do? What makes you ticked off? What makes you tick? What are your core values? What do you like to see? See, I like to show up every day. I like to give 100%. I like to be able to to think of other people first. I like to be able to add value and solve problems. And I like to try to encourage people. And I don't like to use the term motivation because that's temporal. That's like kindling, like firewood or whatever. I like to get people like inspired to say, okay, what can I do? Like you can do so much more than what you think you can do. It's just a matter of getting out of your own way.
Right.
Oprah said it best. You're in charge of filling yourself up and keeping yourself full. You got to work harder on yourself than you do your job. So what do I do now? See, what do I do now is I get up in the morning and I do meditation. I do breath work. I do journaling. I start doing things to get my mind straight for the day. I do everything I can to squash my ego. See, my ego was the demise of everything that I did with everything that happened in my life. See, ego stands for edging God out. See, if we try to do everything on our own, not understand how to stay connected with who we truly are, then doesn't really work. And my next question that I ask people is like, how do you know what you want to do if you don't know who you are?
Yep.
How do you know what you want to do if you don't know who you are? Who are you at the core? Just start to try to figure that out. Just try to discover that stuff. Pour the good in. Start listening to podcasts, tapes, YouTube, all these different things. I got earplugs in every day, my earbuds. I'm just pouring the good in. Okay, what do I want to do? And it starts stimulating you to a place of creativity, of purpose. But so many people need to challenge their perspective on things. What's your perspective about yourself? What's your perspective about what you think you should be doing? What you can do? Where you need to go? See, a lot of people think like I just need to get a job. I need to work 40 hours a week, 9 to 5, and I need to get married and have a wife and live in the suburbs and have 2 or 3 kids. Well, is that truly what you want? Or is that what you've been trained in the environment of growing up? Mm-hmm. Challenge that stuff. Challenge your beliefs. Challenge your perspective, because that perspective can be changed. I'm a guy sitting here right now who's lost everything after being on top of the world. That changed my perspective. That's the only thing I did. That's the only thing different for me now, living 10.0 than I did playing Major League Baseball, is I changed perspectives that I had that were limiting me, that were holding me back, that forced me to have a negative self-limiting mindset. Yeah, I did have a limited self-sabotaging mindset on top of the world. We all deal with it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. And that's those questions are so important. And I love what you said. Like, how do you know what you want to do when you don't know who you are? And especially like for myself, like I try to listen to podcasts all the time, have those types of moments where you ask yourself those real questions, ask yourself those deep questions instead of trying to, follow society, do exactly what everybody else says instead of doing what you truly believe is your purpose and why you're on this earth.
100%. And what goes to my mind when you're talking right now is like, okay, like do a self-audit, right? We got to do self-audits all the time. I'm constantly seeking the fullest version of myself. If I'm the same person I am today than I was a year ago, I'm doing myself 100% in disservice and the people in this world. Anybody I come across, I'm doing myself a disservice if I don't try to become a better person every single day. Our potential is insane. We tap into maybe 10% of our potential, and we just like to be complacent. We like to be in status quo. Why is that? Perspective from pain points in our lives, right? All of us have it. All of us have experienced it. All of us have had trauma. All of us have had a story. We have a story, right? So what's that story that you're telling yourself? What's that trauma, or what's those things that have formed who you are right now? See, those perspectives that we've formed from experiences in our life, throughout our life, like for you right now, throughout your life, your young life, you formed a perspective from your experiences, how you interpret and communicate those experiences to yourself. Right? And what happens, that forms your truth. Right. You operate from your truth every single day. So do I. Right? And the thing is like, we're going to do everything we can to defend our truth. That's how we're made up. And our truth operates from a subconscious level, playing on a tape over and over and over every single day. So if we don't address that tape, it doesn't matter what we say here. It matters what we say at a subconscious level. That's what drives the engine of us every day. So as I'm hitting home runs, making tens of millions of dollars on TV, all-star games, you know what that tape's saying? You suck. You're not worthy. You're not lovable. You're not good. Screw you. Forget that. I'm just going to work on the performer. I'm going to go out there and hit. I'm going to go out there and hit, get ground balls. I hit 60,000 times in the offseason to try to combat. You're not lovable. You're not good enough. You're going to amount to nothing. You think you're a piece of crap. That negative energy I operated from the core drove me to the spot and just like, exploding. And it's a crummy place to be.
I completely agree with you, man. And so something that I've tried to, talk to my friends about a lot recently is, the idea of understanding we only get every second once. We're only on this earth for so long. So might as well as take full advantage and live this life to the fullest every single day, every single second of the day. And I saw this video a few days ago, and it was a guy who said, if I offered you $10 million or to not wake up tomorrow morning, which would you choose? And it was just like a massive, mind-blowing question. And I posted on Instagram. I had a few friends who were like, I've been really down recently, and that's a really good bird's eye view perspective of life and how we should really appreciate every single second that we have. Because who knows, I could drop dead tomorrow. Nobody knows, and knock on wood. But for people who are really feeling like what you felt at some point in your life, like you said 7-8 years ago, of wanting to give up, not wanting to live tomorrow, what advice would you have for those people?
That pain is temporary. What you're going through is temporary. Life is far greater than what you're going through right now. Put yourself around people, get yourself in association with people that's going to elevate you. What's going to happen is we got to elevate our standards. We got to turn our shoulds into musts. We got to elevate where we are. You got to do a self-assessment. There's 4 things, 4 A's. I challenge you right now. Right now, if you're in that spot to where you're just like, screw it, I'm one breath away from giving up. That give it up, just continuing to go through the drive-thru, continuing to go to Dunkin' Donuts, continuing to run, numb, and flee from that pain, and rather than addressing that pain, right? There's 4 A's. You have to be aware of where you are right now. You have to be aware. Where am I right now? Like when I left baseball, I wasn't aware. The awareness that I have now from where I was, man, I was struggling. I was scared. I was so egotistical. I hurt. I didn't know how to ask for help. Like where are you right now? Bring awareness. The second A is you have to accept it. So many people are aware of their situation. They're like, oh, I'm fat. Oh, I suck. Oh, I don't have a job. Oh, I'm going to bring some losing my relationship. Oh, I'm going to bring some just like, I just don't want to live anymore. But they don't own it. They don't accept it. You have to accept where you are right now. And that allows you to do exactly what you're trying to do, is live for the moment to moment. And the third A is you have to take action. So many people try to get the quick fix. So many people go to social media. So many people go to all this stuff, get $100,000, have all this success, or do this, or portray this image. You got to take action. They try to go from step 1 to step 7. You can't go. There's no magic potion. There's nothing that you could do to go from step 1 to step 4, 5, 6, or 7. You have to start out at step 1. And for so many people in that spot right now, and if you're in that spot right now, you got to start at step 1. How do you start at step 1? Stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding. Stop going and doing the things to run, numb, and flee. If you're drinking, take a couple less drinks. If you're doing drugs, I don't know what to tell you there. If you're in a situation where you're in a position, you got to stop the bleeding, and you got to start taking one step at a time. You have to create that momentum in your life. Stop the bleeding. You can't say everything's peachy, everything's great. I'm going to get this program. I'm going to go do this and go do that. No. I got to stop the bleeding and then take that action, one step. If you got to crawl. See me, when I came out of the crap I went through, I had to crawl. I had nothing. I couldn't start running. I couldn't be on the major league field and hitting home runs. I had to crawl. I had to start at level 1, even though I know how to operate at 10, 11, 12, level 1. And the last A is you have to keep yourself accountable. You can't expect other people to keep you accountable. You have to keep yourself accountable. How do I do that? If I don't keep myself accountable with the promises I keep to myself, simple promises. That means that if tomorrow morning, if you're getting a little bit inspired by this video, tomorrow morning, if you say you're going to wake up at 7 a.m., wake up at 7 a.m. Keep yourself accountable. Set that alarm. Do whatever you have to do. Do the Mel Robbins technique. Count backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get your butt out of bed. It doesn't matter what you do when you get out of bed. Get out of bed. If it's that bad, keep that promise to yourself. If you do that, celebrate that win. Say, you know what? Good job, man. I got out of bed. If you do that, you celebrate that win, you get a dopamine release, and you go on to the next task. If you don't do it, hold yourself accountable. Don't beat yourself up, but use the language you need to do to keep yourself. Come on, dude. You're better than this. You're worth this. Pain is temporary. We're just in the spot right now. It's not going to be like this all the time. Let's just do that. Bring awareness, accept, action, accountability. Try to create that momentum. Little steps every single day. If that means just going on a walk outside around the block, do that. The quickest way to change your mindset and your focus is through exercise, through your body. Do something with your body. Emotion comes from motion. Get your body moving. We have to move. You can't stay stagnant. You can't continue to watch your phone, Netflix, Amazon, all that food. It's killing you. Understand that the information is all right here. Educate yourself in the areas that you need. Put yourself around people that can influence you. Podcasts, YouTube videos, ebooks, sermons, whatever that might be. Put the good in, that'll drown out the bad. Create that momentum one step at a time.
Couldn't agree more, my man. And it's something where I also try to bring up gratitude as well, just the whole perspective, something that you've talked about throughout this entire conversation. If you're looking at that phone, you get to look at that phone. Like if you're in a house, you get to have a house. You know, it's so interesting looking at, especially people like my age who grew up in this technology sort of environment, who don't really have that outer perspective of, you know, people over in Afghanistan who are fearing for their lives, people in Yemen who don't have a next meal, you know, really having that perspective and realizing everything that you're grateful for. And I think that's so huge each and every single day as well.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Exactly right. And the challenge that people have is that we're always trying to run away from pain and seek pleasure. See, the pleasure of staying where these people are right now is far greater than the pleasure of trying to change to a greater version of who I am. Mm-hmm. The numbing, the covering, the instant gratification, all that stuff is able to cover and provide you instant pleasure from that pain that you're experiencing. So that's so much easier to deal with than think about, man, I got to go on this journey and I have to do these things over a period of time to be able to get me from where I am now to where I want to be. This option right here is a lot easier than that. So I'm going to fall to that. But what do you want to do? Where you want to go? Because whatever you want to create, the ability is there. I'm doing it right now. I've already made I'm going to make more money now. I'm going to impact more lives than I ever did playing Major League Baseball. And the money I make is just a byproduct of adding value and serving other people's lives with purity of my heart, no ego, and going out there and say, dude, how can I help you, man? You could do it. Doesn't matter where you are. And I could say that because I have credibility, because I was one breath away from losing my life. I was that guy that did that. So I get it. I understand it. It's hard. Pain is temporary. It's not always going to be there. Your situation can change. We have to work on the mindset.
This conversation is exactly why I changed this podcast to connecting sports and mental health, because it's so much deeper than just sports. It's so much deeper than you know, just surface level stuff. And everything that you've said so far is so true, Shea. And you know, I think that so many people who are listening to this podcast, if you're not inspired yet, I don't know if you just heard what we just talked about, but I have a lot of people who follow the Red Sox.
Ask me any question you want. Ask me any question you want, dude. Any question about stocks, whatever you guys want to know from like a player's perspective, dude, I'll give it to you.
I love it. So, and I loved everything that you just said. And I think people are going to walk away from this just loving it. But I wanted to talk about sort of your experiences playing next to Nomar Garrciapara. He's a guy who, you know, so many people in Boston loved, emulated at shortstop, but you were a guy that played third base right next to him.
Nomar loves soccer so much. That's why he married me a him. He would watch the World Cup like on the road, like 2, 3 in the morning, wherever the game, like obsessed, like a soccer freak. See, I was the number one soccer player in Arizona in high school, so I can relate to him with that. I remember playing third base. I'm playing straight up third base. I'm not playing in a hole. We didn't do shifts like they do shifts now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing straight up third base. And I have a ground ball hit to me to my left. Third base is a step and dive position. So you have to get your hands down and your glove and your hand below your knees in that set position. You hop because, dang, that ball comes on you so freaking quick in the big leagues. It's a joke, man. I remember Manny Ramirez hitting a ball off my chest in Toronto when I played against him, and I was playing deep. One hop, boom. He took two steps out of the box. I picked it up and threw him out. I'm like, what do you got on that now, Manny? I step and I dive to my left. The ball goes underneath my glove at third base, not at the tip of my glove. It goes right underneath my glove. And I banged my glove on the ground because I was like, dang it, man, I should have got that ball, man. Like it was right there. And I was like, I hit my glove on the ground. Then instantly you got to shift your focus to like, what's next? What's the next play? Where do we got to go? You can't relish and stay in that moment because there's always something going on. I look in left field to see if Troy O'Leary is going to pick up the ball and throw it to second base. And damn if Nomar is not right behind me. He picks up the ball and does his patent ESPN side throw to first base and gets the runner out. And Nomar wasn't playing in a hole. He was playing a straight up shortstop too. And I'm like, holy cow. It was an ESPN Web Gym game of the week. Fans are going crazy. We're throwing it around. And I flip it back to the pitcher. I can't remember who's pitching. And I walk back to my position. I was like, hey, Nomi, how the hell did you get to that ball, dude? I was like in awe. And he turns to me. He's like, Shea, because I'm flipping good, man. And he just walks away. Goes back. This is like, these guys are that good there. They were so freaking good. Like Nomar had his routine in the dugout. Drive you crazy. He walks between the poles, taps his toes. He flips his wristbands and his bands and zip Velcro on his gloves, all that stuff. Like he taps his toes twice on the, it was like a rubber turf. Then 4 times on the grass, then he'd hop over the line, then he'd run to like the same thing every single time. Like that's what Nomar was known for. See, what we need to understand, guys, is that there's no superstitions. There's no superstition in sports. Guys don't do that for superstitions. Some guys do that stuff because they're so weak, whatever. It's like, oh, this, but we do those things. We do routines. We do those focus formulas to snap our mind into a specific focus. You need to be in a specific focus. If you're not in a specific focus on the task at hand and put yourself and prepare yourself to be in that situation, like I told you, when do I start? Read the pitch, react. So only things I'm focused on when I'm in the batter's box. Right. So Nomar would do that, not to have a superstition, but he'd do it to train his mind so he knows he's set to go out there and compete at the highest level possible. He was a rock star. I felt horrible for him. I was the first guy that Theo Epstein ever traded with the Red Sox. I got traded to Arizona for Young Kim, the closer, sidearm pitcher. But Nomi was there for 9 years, and he's a franchise player. It was Nomi and Pedro were the 2 guys that were franchise players because they were there longer than Manny, and Big Papi just showed up. And Nomar was the second guy that was traded from Boston, and he got traded at the trade deadline 2 months before they won the World Series. Yeah. I've been watching the World Series. I don't watch many games, and I get emotional because I'm like, dude, all I wish, one thing I ever done in Major League career was to play in the postseason in the World Series for the Red Sox, because I know I would have shown up and freaking crushed and helped carry that team to a World Series. What else do you want to know? Any other players?
So also, like, I mean, you played with some like marquee players that like I grew up watching, like Manny Ramirez, Johnny Damon, Jason Varitek, Pedro Martinez. You brought up Ortiz. And so, like, do you have any crazy stories or fun moments from your time playing with those guys?
Yeah, Manny's Manny. Manny is a guy that was raised with 3 older sisters. So Manny he could speak English really good, just to let you guys know. So he always tried to play the thing to where like I can't do interviews or whatever because I just speak Spanish. He speaks English really good. He's a really introverted guy, and he's got an amazing heart. Manny is probably one of the kindest people that I've ever met. He would always do these different things to escape the pressure and the stuff that he dealt with as playing in like Boston. He's funky. He's just we worked out together. and we play catch together. And I'm telling you, man, I believe that guy's the best right-handed hitter that ever played the game. That's just my personal opinion. Insane what he could do. I know when I got traded, I went to his hotel room in Toronto and told him I got traded, and he started crying, and then we hugged and parted ways, and like that's how we felt together. Like when you're in that clubhouse at Fenway, it's a family. It's not a team. Like, you're going to war. I mean, like you said, we have big expectations to stand up to live up to. And then you got Johnny Damon. Johnny Damon's a rock star. All he ever wanted to do is be a rock star. He wanted to be the lead singer in a band, but he stuttered all the time. It's like, Johnny, what the heck are you talking about? You can't even freaking talk. How do you be a lead singer in a band, dude? He never stretched. He says he would get hurt if he stretched. He went against everything: his body, his physique, his genes, how he was made up, his genetics. Went everything against what you talk about as what you need to do for a professional athlete. Another amazing guy. Love Johnny Damon. Give his shirt off his back for you. Just so cool. You know, like it just a cornerstone guy that let off. He broke so many bats, He'd break his bats, get jammed. Then he'll come up with a huge hit or a home run. Then he'll break 15 more bats. And he's like, dude, I just do it. I don't care. Just go out there and just have fun and we just got to do it, man. Let's go. And then you go to Jason Varitek. He's a study. He's a nerd. He should have went to Harvard. He's always studying. He always had his notebooks out. He always had his stuff studying hitters, like he was a true, like for him to get the status of captain is super cool. Tech deserves it. Tech's a guy that you don't want to mess with. A-Rod, obviously you can see, didn't want to mess with him. No. Seeing Tech break his elbow diving in the on-deck circle when I played with him with throwing arm was tough to see him go through. Hatterberg took over and Mirabelli at that time. But Tech was an awesome guy. He's a guy that you want to go to war with every single day, every day. He gives 100% of who he is. He studies. He knows it. He knows the game. He's the guy that you're like, yes, I want to go to war with him. My favorite pitcher ever. I played behind some amazing pitchers. I played for 6 teams. I played behind Hall of Famers, a ton of Hall of Famers. My favorite pitcher ever to play behind is Pedro Martinez. The guy is amazing. I don't know how he does it. His zeal, his lust, everything for the game. Like, he loves it. Whenever he's in the clubhouse, he had one of those sanitary socks on his head, and he would just mess around. He is just like screwy, goofball. Hey guys, let's go. Like, he didn't put himself above anybody else. He screwed off. He was in a league of his own. He lived life to the extreme. He would take me out on the road in Tampa. We would get we got 1 bottle of Dom Perignon champagne in the corner booth, and I was like, I'm sitting there sipping it. This is $400 bottles of wine, and Pedro's like, Poppy, what are you talking about? Let's go, drink the wine. Let's go, drink it. Let's have fun. 9 bottles later, we're having a time of our life. Like, they would spend money like nothing, and I did it too when I had money. But Pedro was like the biggest goofball. All he did was screw around. Super smart. He'd sit on the bench, say, well, that guy should have thrown this pitch or done this or whatever. But let me tell you what, when he put that uniform on and walked out there, don't mess with him. Don't mess with him. He'll kill you. Like not literally, but like, dude, like his passion, his intensity, his drive, his focus. Pedro on the mound, I played behind every one of his starts in 2002, and I was like, yes. Like, the only game that I get up for is like, dude, this is Petey's throwing tonight. Let's go, dude. Like, insane. So cool. Who else? Not really. All the other guys were kind of like corner guys. I left before your boy Pedroia came. I played against him, Dustin, and I faced what the heck? There's not even a word. I faced Papelbon. I was the first guy he ever faced. I was with Toronto, and he was with Boston. Faced him. Hardest thing I ever did was coming back to Fenway as a visiting player. I got my butt booed out of the stadium. That hurt so bad. Like, that hit my soul. Fans rightfully had the right to boo me because the way I carried myself with how with Theo Epstein and whatnot. Mm-hmm. That killed me. And I proceeded to hit a home run off Keith Folk. Yeah, I loved facing him.
I love it, man. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool hearing all these stories and your experiences, because as a fan,
he was the craziest player I've ever played with in my life. The craziest player. The absolute crazy. I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. You get Urbina. You get Urbina is the absolutely. I love it. He was on my side. We're boys. He's from Venezuela. You want him on your side. He grew up in the streets. Don't mess. Anybody comes across, you get Urbina, don't mess with him. I wouldn't do it. I love him.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
There's some great, like on the plane, you have fun. Tim Wakefield is amazing. Tim Wakefield's a guy that didn't think he got respect from people. He had the longest tenure with the Red Sox out of anybody there when he played, right? He played his whole career there. So he felt inherently that this is my perspective. And I'm trying to be, hopefully it's respectful because I respect the guy tremendously. Like we're friends. I think he felt since he threw a knuckleball, he didn't get the respect he deserved. So he kind of navigated with that space, had to deal with that. Wake was fun.
It was so new. Like it was so, when he played, it was so new. And I remember watching him. I'm like, wait, this guy throws 68 miles per hour and a 80 mile per hour fastball. Like, how is he in the major leagues?
I faced him in Toronto, in Fenway. Every player he got 2-0, he'd throw him a fastball. I'm sitting 2-0, and I'm like, sweet, he's going to throw me that 84, 85 mile an hour fastball. He throws me another knuckleball, and I do the freaking Bugs Bunny, freaking spin around 3 times and pop it straight up in the air, and he catches it and he laughs. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
And then, and then it's funny because I faced Randy Johnson for the first time when he was with the Yankees. I was with the Toronto Blue Jays, but we won't talk about that because it's not Red Sox.
It's no problem at all to me. But I mean, Randy Johnson was a guy who, I mean, his fastball was insane as a lefty. That arm must have been really difficult to be able to.
He's that much closer to you too because he's tall. He's tall. He's that much closer to you when he releases the ball. I played with him in Arizona. I played first base when he threw his perfect game in Atlanta. And his locker was right next to mine. But he was really intense. He's a guy that would throw at his son at a father-son game. Like, I don't care who you are. I'm willing to freaking kill you. That mentality on the field. Like, I hope we can put that in context.
Right.
Because that's how I hit. Like, I was like, I'm going to freaking crush you, dude. I don't care. I'm either going to get hit or throw my bat at you. I don't like you. And I want to do something for the Red Sox. So we were in Toronto and in the weight room, and Randy, we were facing him the next series. The Yankees in New York. And he says, I'm going to throw you a fastball. And I'm like, what, dude? So long story short, I never seen Randy do that. Like ever. Like, Randy doesn't do that. That's a respect thing from Randy. He likes you. He's got the second most strikeouts ever. Insane what this guy's done at a baseball field. Like, crazy. So we get the count 2-1 in New York, and he throws me a fastball right down the middle of the plate. And I hit a missile right back at him. One hopper. His goofy big bird arms, he spins around and catches the ball behind his back.
Oh, my God.
And then he proceeds to go over and tag me out halfway down the first baseline. Then he starts to smile. I'm like, ha! I got you to smile on a big league baseball field. So it's cool. Derek Jeter get on first. Love the guy. Derek Jeter is an amazing guy, respectful. He had the coolest eyes ever, man. Look at Derek Jeter's eyes. They're electric blue. They're like amazing, like contact lenses, like natural. Him and Cal Ripken had the trippiest eyes ever. So Jeet would get on first base and say, hey, Jeet, I'm not trying to hit on you or anything, but dude, I love your eyes, bro. And he'd be like, dude, come on, Shea, don't be talking about that stuff. Dude, I played with Barry Bonds too, man. I hit in front of him.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Barry Bonds
third,
too.
And he hit fourth, dude. Wow. The best left-handed hitter ever.
Right.
I played with him when he was 42 years old too. Like, it's insane. Just before he got the record. And it's a freak of nature, a specimen. Super nice guy too. It's difficult to be on top. You know what I mean? Like, one of the best players. It's difficult to be a Manny. It's difficult to be a big Papi. It's difficult to be a Pedro or a Barry Bonds or a Mike Trout or any of these guys playing nowadays.
Right.
So they're going to act different. They're going to do things differently. They're going to play the game differently because they have to deal with different things than you do, right? Mm-hmm. And I do, right? So if you go to a company, the CEO or the owner or whoever's in charge is going to act differently than you do. So insane. The stuff he taught me how to hit, it's like Chinese. I learned so much from the guy. It's crazy. Came in the clubhouse. I went over to the ghetto. He had the ghetto over there, the side of the clubhouse, I'm like, man, you didn't grow up in the ghetto, man. You grew up in a wealthy, like crazy, man. You live in Beverly Park. Like Beverly Hills is where the poor people live. He lives in Beverly Park. And I said, I want you to teach me everything you know about hitting. He's like, yeah, man, that's what I like you, man. So he taught me a lot. And that's the stuff that I pass on to other people right now. But it's just, I'm so humbled and I'm so grateful to be able to rub shoulders and be able to be in the presence and be intimate with these people.
That's incredible, man.
You
really got to be around some incredible legends.
Yeah. And it was cool. I definitely 100% didn't appreciate it, didn't know how to navigate it, didn't know how to understand it. When I played Major League Baseball, I never sat on the field and said, oh my gosh, dude, I'm living my dream. I was never able to do that. And we get paid every 2 weeks, or we get a paycheck in our locker, like the pay stub, but you get direct deposit. I never open up a paycheck and say, man, I'm a millionaire. Like when I grew up in the 1980s, it's like, man, I want to grow up. I want to be a millionaire, right? It's a lot easier now to be a millionaire than it was then. It's like, I did that, but I wasn't able to do it because I was disattached from who I was. And I experienced a lot of stuff that I probably didn't need to I didn't have to do. I just didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know how to navigate. I didn't know how to perform in those situations. But yeah, Barry Bonds, like insane, crazy.
He deserves to be a Hall of Famer. I'll say it from the rooftops.
Yeah, I can care less. If somebody has to attach their identity to that, then we're struggling. There's so many things that Barry Bonds could do outside of that to be able to have a fulfilled life. You look at a Pete Rose, like it's sad to see these people like that. It's sad to see Hall of Famers out there. That's all they do. Like you see it around the Red Sox. I'm not going to name any names because I know all the guys, and it's just like it breaks my heart that they have to hang their shoes on, hey, I'm a Hall of Famer, or I got to show up to this legendary game, or I got to show up for this thing. Like, no, dude, like what can you do? Create a business, create impact, leverage your platform, use your name to go out there and just transform and help people with what they're going through right now, especially right now with COVID and everything, man. So many people are lost. So many people are one step away. So many people are like, man, I don't even want to play the game anymore. I just want to give up. I want to pack it up. I want to throw in the towel in my marriage or my kid. Like it's so crazy right now. So that's where I'm at. I'm on a mission to do that. I want to use my voice to help other people find their voice. I refer to The Voice as not the TV show. I do like the TV show, but which arm? This arm. I have The Voice put on here because when I was losing everything in my life, I was walking through my petting zoo because I owned a zoo. We didn't really talk about that. I had an audible voice come in my head. It said, use your voice to help other people find their voice. It stopped me in my tracks. That was about 10 years ago. I was like, use my voice. I don't even have my voice, man. I'm like so lost. I'm so disconnected. I'm so freaking far gone right now. But I clinged on to that voice telling me to use my voice. And I figured one day I'm going to put myself in a position to discover and be able to present the real Shea Hillenbrand, not the real Slim Shady, the real Shea Hillenbrand, right? And to be able to use my voice to go out there and encourage people to use their voice. What's that? Your purpose, your gifts, your talents. Go out there and serve and add value to other people. If you're in a place that you're stuck, you want to feel good, don't buy the jets, don't buy the cars, none of that stuff. Discover what you're good at and use that to help somebody else out. No greater feeling in the world. You can find me on social media, Shea Hillenbrand, Shea _ whatever. You can find me, Google me, whatever. Whatever I can do to help you out, DM me. I'll do whatever I can to help and serve and help any of your guests out. Honored to be here, brother.
Really appreciate the time, Shea. Seriously, really appreciate all the stories, all the advice, all the inspiration. Seriously, I gotta tell you, you achieved your goal. This is undoubtedly the best episode I've had.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Check this out, man. I could step to the plate in Yankee Stadium. That's probably one of the biggest stages in Major League Baseball that people crumble on. I thrived in that situation. I remember hitting a go-ahead home run off of Mike Mussina in the 7th inning as a Red Sox player, 40,000, 42,000 Yankee fans, and the whole stadium being silent. I prepared and I presented myself with the best of the best. After that game, I'd be at a 5-star restaurant. My entourage, I'd spend $4,000 on a meal. I'd sit at the table, the dinner table. I couldn't step to that plate. I couldn't step to the dinner plate because I didn't know who I was. All I knew is what I did. It was so crazy with me, man. I would see myself on highlights on TV, on ESPN. That's a great feeling, man. It's crazy to see yourself on TV. Like all you ever do is do that. As a kid, you watch, other people on TV.
Yeah.
I'd be with all these people. I'd almost go to the bathroom in my pants. I'd almost pee my pants at the supper table after performing in Yankee Stadium because I had fear of walking across the restaurant to use the restroom. I couldn't do that. I had zero self-confidence in who I was as a person, that I had fear that everybody would be staring at me and telling me that I sucked. You're not good enough. Your dad doesn't love me. Every single time I sit at the dinner table, almost peeing in my pants. That's how severe it is. It's crazy. So to go from that person to this person, being able to talk on a podcast, being able to share purity, humble, and transparency and vulnerability, like it's huge. It's an honor. I've worked my tail off harder at this than I ever did at becoming a Major League Baseball player, but I found fulfillment. I found happiness, and I could help people cut that time down, that curve, and help them all the stuff that I learned through the process that I implemented to be able to get through to where I need to go to now. So I'm super humbled and I'm super grateful and appreciative to be able to share, especially like when I came on and saw the Boston's, I'm like, yes, dude, like I love you guys, man. Like from my heart, like, man, I want to go out there and I want to help so many real estate agents in New England. Like, I want to go out there, like, what do you need, man? Let's explode your business. Let's figure out what you need to do. Whatever that is, I want to help people in New England. Forget the rest of the country. I hope nobody else is watching. I want to support New England. Let's go.
I love it, man. Really appreciate you.